Alright, go video. This is tote 1 out of the machinist haul. Get all the totes in here. We got, I think I counted 10 or 11 totes full. So this is one tote. I did a little information, a little looking up. Oh, this is good because we got another part to this right here. That's very good for us. Alright, so we got these phase 2. Sorry, it's a little cold out here. We got these phase 2 quick changes. These are for a lathe. These do 150 in this condition. I think I have one extra plate there. I think there's an extra plate right there. And this is the other handle. And looks like there's some other extra parts to that. So that's good. I have to dig a little into that particular part and actually find out what it does and see if I have some more parts that would go with that. And then, yeah, that's a good piece. All right. I don't know which one to dive into. I'm all excited here. Let's dive into this. We got these straight edge. It says China, but I know these are going to be good. I gotta look those up. So these parts are going to go with this. Yeah. I would think these parts might go with that too. So it's going to be a lot of drill bits, basically. So let me do some cut clips here. So what this is an adjustment. It goes from 1/2 inch to I think 1.5 inches. Some kind of adjustment bit for a lathe. Know your lathe parts. Lathe stuff does overly well if you know how to work with one. This looks like new old stock. And get some prices on there. This guy liked the prices stuff. I think he liked to know what he paid for some of it. Let's see what this is. Okay, so these are magnetic chuck parallels. These are good for something. I'll have to look them up. It says 80 on it. I'll have to look them up. Alright. Getting into one of my favorite things I like to get into. I think I have a ton more of these too. Let's get into some makers. Albertech, Germany. He doesn't have any kind of like embossing, but alright. I'll have to look up the Albertech. We have a Jacobs 6A. So it's 6A Jacobs. That's nice. That's a nice clean Jacobs. We got a very big Albertech. It says a Jacobs Chuck Arbor. I wasn't even looking at the filming. Sorry, guys. So we got a Jacobs Chuck Arbor on here. That's a pretty clean piece. moves pretty nice and fluid. Got some other ones in here. You get a Jacobs 7A, looks like, yeah. This is a Alberchuck 0 to a quarter. That makes no sense. I guess it would be a 0 to a quarter. That looks like a really nice bit. Okay, we got a Jacobs Arbor on there. And we get a Chuck tightener. It's a Jacobs Chuck tightener. That's right there to that Jacobs. It's right there. Boom. Nice. Crunch your numbers. I don't know. Do some comps on one of these. Jacobs Chuck. That's what you're working with when they're clean, you know. So a couple more. We got this a couple nice pots here. Paralleling clamps. Ultra clean. Ultra clean. 807. It's probably a nice piece. Is it marked? Unbranded, but I got some brands on this little one here. That's that same company that was making the Chucks. Albertine. Most of the stuff has maker's marks on it, so you can kind of look it up. Alright, so that was that tote right there. What we're looking at is probably $200 a tote, I think, of cost. When it all breaks down in math, it's $200 a tote. Pretty sure. I have to do the numbers again, but so we're gonna call this one tote. A couple tape measures. It's a nice 50-footer. I mean, that's at least $5 or $10 a flea if it don't comp out. It's a couple steels by Lufkin. I bet you could get $15 for both of those on eBay. All these files, since they're taken really good care of, I'll make those into a lot. I bet you get maybe $30 for all those. We got some precision tools you have to look up. There's a couple of the precision tool parts. And stuff like that. I have more stuff like this. The forceps and tweezers, different kinds of scissors. We'll make a nice lot of that. And all these bits. Some really good bits. I do good with bits, so I buy bits. Hole saw arbors. These hole saw arbors, these do like $5 each. I bet you get $20 for the 4 of those, I would think. So yeah, that's that one tote. Not too shabby. Still got to look up these straight edges, and all those chucks. You still got to look up all those too, because they all vary. They all vary. Gotta look them up. And I can say this much right here. When you find, this is what you would see files in. So if you can find files in these boxes, in the original file box, never used, with no rust on them, it's hard to find them. like that, but if you can, good, very good money in that. No rust with the box, and chuck the comps. These are just regular hand files. I'm sure everyone's seen one before at one point, but these can do really good. And these are Swiss made too, so these are let's see if we can get a zoom in. Let's see. She doesn't want to focus, but it says Bader Swiss, and it has an embossment. There we go. Bader Swiss. There's different makers, but France, Swiss, German, stuff like that makes really good files. The US makes some good files too, but these are more for like jeweler repairing, stuff like that. So sadly I'll have to separate all these two into oh, come on, focus. To scrap this video too. I'll have to look these up and make lots. It's the only way to do it, but they do well. Alright, that's about it for this tote. On to the next. Machinist peripheral vision overload. Alright. Kind of breaking it out, and I've painted myself into a corner. I do this a lot. Yeah, so let's just give a little walkthrough, like picture time. These are different machinist tools you could look out for if you can pay pennies on the dollar. This is why I said I had a ton of bits. They're all drill bits. Bits. Still kind of searching through this little treasure trove of stuff here. But let's give an example. This is an extension pot. I haven't looked these up yet, but I've seen some of them do pretty well. I have a bunch of them, so I'm gonna end up making a lot. But pretty much gotta look through every little thing. Oh, see, because here's the one punch that goes to this punch set here, which that's a very expensive punch set. I don't know why that one goes like that, but it does. Also, this must be, okay, there we go. Better. Maybe that other one that's missing is in here. Let's take a quick look. Try to make a whole set. Close, no cigar. Alright, but still has some nice dogs in here. Some nice dog in there. Another nice weird looking dog. Not sure if these are dogs. They could be dogs. Yeah, there's a bunch of them. They're definitely some kind of clamp part. Another dog. There's a bunch of dogs. There's a bunch of dogs here. 1, 2, 3 bags of different kinds of dogs. There's huge tap bits. There's tons of bits. They make tons of bits. Oh, come on, baby. Yeah. Tons. 341 piece mixed. And I showed you all those bits. Those are all bits. There's just so many crazy good tools. It's comprehensible, but slightly uncomprehendable on how much machinery I have. There are 1, 2, 3 steps. All these are different gauges. It's a nice bit. Probably at least a $60 to $70 bit. Another probably $60 to $70 bit. Brand new. These do 20 each. I mean, I can't even comprehend the numbers. So, obviously it's overload. Those gauges, so many different little parts. This thing's very interesting. Can't even pull it up. That's actually a level. Tons of gauges, tons of these, tons of drafting sets. Like 8 drafting sets. A bag of prisms. These are all prisms. I'll pull one out. All different sized prisms. Full bag, more bits and bits. Tons more. I pulled out tons more centers. Tons. It's like, I don't know, 50 to 100 centers. More bits. Tons more bits. I showed you these before. This is the phase. These are the phase 2s. There's 2 phase 2s in here. Some wood drill bits. This is all sharpening stones. It's like 50 sharpening stones. There's more stones over here. This whole tote, which weighs like 1,000,000 pounds. It's It's mostly 1, 2, 3 steps. This is all paperwork for everything that's in here. But 1, 2, 3 steps. Dogs. Parts. Tons of parts. Screws. To all these clamps. I don't know if he was making some of these. No, that's a start. So these are all focus. These are all parallels. Big ass parallels. What this will all do, I mean, this is 80 pounds of parallel. I don't even want to know how much that is. That's a lot. Parallels are hard to look up. That's why they weren't priced. More bits. More bits. And bits. And more bits. Flutes. Carbide. Bits. Tons. Working my way out. I got these. So like shaft extensions. I got these, which are very interesting. So lathe stops. Stock stops. Lathe stops. This is his price sheet for his lathe stops. These are individual prices of each stop. You got 2 of those, you got 1 of those, 3 of those. Seems like it's more than that to total, but all the surgical equipment. More milling bits. What's in here is pretty cool. Just trying to throw in anything. These are all cutting and milling bits. These are expensive. I gotta separate them all, obviously, by brand and possibly size. But I just want to pull this one out. Let's see. Look at this thing. That's a nice meat grinder bit. It's marked Ethel. This is a looks like a it's a brown and sharp, I think. HSG, I'm pretty sure is right here. HSG. It could be high speed grade. This came out of Athol, though. Athol, Mass, right there. A lot of Start stuff came out of Athol. It's a 2. So 1 2 by 3. So it's probably a 1-inch arbor, 2 inches wide, and 3 inches long. It's a beefy bit, and the thing about these is you don't want them to touch each other. So like I'd have to be really careful moving that. They're not supposed to. Carbide's not supposed to touch carbide. It dulls it, chips it, scratches it, makes it weak. But that's what we got. I mean, can only do so much. More bits, flutes, lathe bits, sharpening stones, punches, tap and die bits. These are all specialty flashlights and flashlight parts. Then we got a bunch of books in here. Books, parts, bits, more bits, and more bits. So you get a drink every time I say bits in this video. That'd be a lot of drinking. I didn't even show you any of that stuff. That's all lathe parts. Some micrometer stands, lathe parts, big ass taps. Geez, I got all types of stuff. There's more lathe parts in there too. Lathe parts in there. There's lathe parts in here. Got these big ass lathe chucks. Couple Marc Jacobs. Couple nice pieces in there. So, yeah, $2 an item. That's what bits going in drink. That's what the bits going in a lot of. I'm thinking like 20 for 20. 20 bits for $20, $1 a bit. That's cheaper than you're gonna get them at the store. But it's a lot. Take a look again. You know, I don't know how many items are up there, but it's at least 100. You know, 100, 2, 3, 4, 5. All that stuff. It's a lot. So if it was $2 an item, I'm gonna really kill it on anything that's over $5. And then the main thing is to get rid of the drill bits for. Yeah, so the main thing is to get rid of the drill bits. That's gonna get us that money back. And it'll be a grind. But and a challenge, but I'm up for it. So there's no way I could show you all this. I hope I showed you something and you learned something. But look up for that surgical stuff. That stuff's expensive. Pretty much anything that I showed you is expensive. So it's all about how much weight you want to pick up too. I don't know what to say. Keep picking. Peace. bits and bobs and knobs and dobs and jobs and bobs and bits.